Welcome to the Hernia Gods podcast. This is your mere mortal host, Luke Elms. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this podcast belong solely to the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy, position, or opinions of Orlando Health or any of our employers. And now, without further ado, let's talk hernias. Hello, and welcome to the first episode of the Hernia Gods podcast. This is your mere mortal host, Luke Elms. I'm a robotic minimally invasive surgeon focusing on hernias and abdominal wall reconstruction at Orlando Health. First things first, let's get to the name. The Hernia Gods podcast name came from the idea, not that I nor anybody appearing on the podcast are some sort of a godlike figure, but more the ethereal gods that we all pray to when we're staring down the barrel of a 12-centimeter abdominal wall defect or an incarcerated femoral hernia in the middle of the night, and just hoping and praying for the best outcome for our patients and that we make the best decisions in sometimes otherwise very difficult situations. The podcast will discuss all things hernia, but as we recently learned at a hernia screening event, it will not discuss spinal hernias, such as extruded discs in the lumbar or thoracic spine. That patient was not super excited. I said, well, unless your disc is protruding through your linea alba or residing unexpectedly next to your testicle, then, sir, I'm afraid you're in the wrong place. But all that said, I look forward to the opportunity to discuss all things hernia. We plan to have some guests on the podcast, and you'll meet some of the co-hosts and recurring guests from some of my partners here at Orlando Health and the hernia program. But just a little bit about me and my background. I grew up in the panhandle of Oklahoma and ended up going to Oklahoma City University after attending the Oklahoma School of Science and Math in Oklahoma City. I majored in biology and then eventually matriculated into the University of Oklahoma College of Medicine, where I got my medical degree and matched into residency at Orlando Health, where I couples matched with my wife, who's an OBGYN. After 5 years of residency here at Orlando Health, I went directly into practice for the Orlando Health Medical Group as a general surgeon. And over the course of time, my practice has grown and expanded and become more and more specialized into hernia surgery and robotics. One of my roles in my practice is serving as the regional director of the South region of our Complex Hernia Center here at Orlando Health. And it never ceases to amaze me how much expertise exists in the hernia world and how our hernia surgery community has just continued to expand and how much we learn from one another through all these interactions. And I hope that this podcast can contribute positively to that kind of both support for the surgeons, because what we do is hard and can be very difficult at times, but also help provide some insight into some of the best practices and the innovations that other places are utilizing so that we can bring those to bear and give our patients the best outcomes. This podcast doesn't have a purpose of being controversial, and there's a few things that it is not. It is not meant to be political. It's not meant to be controversial, and, well, at least not controversial in the standard sense. But if you find it controversial to discuss whether you close the posterior rectus sheath on your ETEPS or not, then this is the podcast for you. So I very much look forward to all of our future discussions. We will hopefully have a cool opportunity to discuss some of the advancements and history of hernia surgery with some of the people that were on the front lines and are currently on the front lines advancing the field. And I also hope to have the opportunity to discuss the realities of what we do, because again, like I said earlier, what we do is hard. And one of my big focuses of my practice has been historically hernia surgery and multimodal pain control. However, recently I've become more and more interested in the idea of physician wellness and this shared experience and bonding that can occur when we are able to have open and honest conversations with one another. And so for that reason, guests on the show, in full disclosure, will have the opportunity to review what the discussion was and take out any parts that they don't feel would be appropriate for release, because it's not meant to, again, be a gotcha or any kind of negative impact on them or their careers. It's more meant to be a place where we can all exchange ideas, have healthy debates on the best practices, and hopefully allow some camaraderie to develop and give us all a good outlet for some of the difficulties we experience on the daily life. So with that said, I sure appreciate everybody listening. I look forward to the future here on the Hernia Gods podcast. And this is your host, Luke Elms, signing off. Thanks.